also being part and parcel of my show. I say that this is one of my show where I talk about how we can simply start small businesses or how we can simply create or develop our ideas to what we want them to be. And last time I started by talking about why a business plan would not be so important, especially when you are starting a business from your idea. And I remember saying that the problem with a business plan is that it is an implementation document, meaning that you require it when you are implementing the idea that you have already tested, whether it is a viable idea or not. I also said that the problem with a business plan also is that it plans for finances that you do not have. For example, you have the financial plan that looks at your cash flow, it also looks at your balance sheet, and many other things that are not relevant, especially when you want to move your idea to a business. So I also went ahead and I said that the simplest way of starting a business, especially when you have very little that is available for you, is to use the concept that I call the lean startup. You start lean, you start small. And for you to be able to start small, I started by using this diagram to show you what you would want for you to be able to actualize the idea. And I remember saying that these are the four most important things that you need for you to start any other business, any other, to move your idea to a business or to start any business. So the first thing that I said you need to do is to know who you are targeting, who is your customer, because you cannot target everyone. Then I also said that you need to know the problem that you want to solve for those customers, because I say that people don't buy product, people buy value, people buy utility, people buy that capability of your product to satisfy their want, because what they want is value from what you're producing. People are looking for solution. What solution do they need? These people that you want to to satisfy. And lastly, how can you start it with the simple things that you have or the cheapest things that you have? And that is what we are calling the minimum viable product. We call it a MVP, minimum viable product. Now, let me use this diagram to try and show you how everybody, I said everybody, even the hawkers that you see around, even the people who roast maize on their way, have a business model. But because we theoretically look at business model, we do not know that these people have a business model in their head, and that is what drives their business. So take an example of somebody who is roasting maize in one of these streets, especially in the estates. Who is a customer for that person? The customer for that person are the people who are passing through that street where he has put his amenities, the maize roasting amenities. What problem is he solving? Now, if you look at most of those people, what they do is that they put some of their businesses near the stage. They know that at the stage when you're waiting for a matatu, maybe you get bored and you would want to choose something. So the problem, one that they want to solve is boredom. They want to make sure that there's something that you're doing even when you are waiting for that matatu. They want to make sure that there's something that you are chewing even when you are waiting for that matatu. So the solution that they are giving you is something that you are doing as you wait for whatever you are waiting for in that stage. And then lastly, the minimum viable product is what they need for them to start. They need fire, they need a small karai to use, and they need maize and their time. So you can see what I mean by the minimum viable product. So every business has this, whether it is a small business, whether it is an idea, whether it is a big business, that is what drives some of these businesses that you see. Let me give an example of M-Pesa. Who is my customer when it comes to M-Pesa? The customers are anybody who has a mobile phone. Those are the customers. What is their problem? Their problem is transferring money from one point to another. What solution do they need? They need a convenient method of transferring money from one point to another. What is the minimum viable product? I develop a simple application that is going to help them to transfer that money so that I can solve this problem to the customer. So you can see how some of these things come together. Let me take an example of Uber. I've given you an example of Maize Roaster. Now I'm in Uber. Who is my customer? Customer is anybody who has a phone or a car and he wants to move from one point to another, or he is looking for business for his car. What is their problem? Their problem is that it is very inconveniencing to look for a taxi, especially when you're in a hurry or in places where there are not many. What is the solution? It is a viable, convenient way of getting a taxi. That is for the person who is moving from one point to another. For the driver, the solution is that the problem is that I have a car, but I have nothing that I'm doing with it. And therefore, the solution is to make more money using my car. What is the minimum viable product? Minimum viable product is to have a cheap, simple, low class car. And then you get in. So you can see, especially, but even before I finish looking at that, for the sake of the, the, the people at who run small businesses. Let me give you an example of a hawker. Look at a hawker in Tom Mboya Street. Who is their customer? Their customer are the people who are passing through that street. What is their problem? Their problem is that they would want to have what they are going to cook in the evening without going all the way to Marikiti. What is the solution? To get the food starts from Marikiti and bring them at the bus stage where they can be able to buy. What is the minimum viable product? The minimum viable product is you go for the food. You need to have time for yourself to sit there. And you need to have what you're going to sell to them. And you continue. So you can see those four things are the most important things when it comes to running the show of a business. And that is what you need. You need to know the customer. You need to know the problems the customer are having, the solution that you're going to provide for them, and the minimum viable product that you're going to put in the market. Because when you put the minimum viable product in the market, what usually happens is that the customer grows the business by giving you feedback, telling you what he needs and what he does not require, so that you can be able to move to the point where the customer wants. Now, I want to continue and now look at how we know the problem the customer is having and the solution that we are going to provide for the customer. And for that, let me use this image here. That I'm going to use this image, which is not coming on my way. We call it the value proposition canvas, and it tries to give us the solution to the problem. But even before I go to that, let me just, because it is not working, let me just use this now to try and demonstrate to you how then it is simple to start business. Remember I said that for you to be able to start the business, you need four things. You need to know the customer, you need to know the problems they're having, you need to know the solution that you're going to offer to them, and you need to know what is the minimum viable product that you can put in the market. The minimum, the simplest product you can put in the market so that you can be able to start. Now, these four things that I've talked about goes back to what I talked about there before, that for you to be able to, now the model, for you to be able to start the business, and you need this small, simple model that I have there. You need to know how you are going to create the value for the customers. Because the customers do not buy products. The customers buy value. And that is why in this thing here, we've started by looking at who is your customer and what is the problem. Now, there are very many solutions for the customer to the problem that you want to solve. And therefore, your problem must look to be a problem that is better than the solutions that are already there. Or if it is not better, it is more convenient, it is more time saving, etc. And that is why I'm saying that for you to be able to solve any customer's problem, then you must create value to the customer. And I've said value is utility, the capability of your product to satisfy the customer's want. After you have known how you are going to create value for the customer, then you need to know how you are going to deliver that value to the customer. How is he going to get the value? And lastly, how are you going to make money? Those are the three most important things that you need to look at. And this is now the model that I'm talking about, the business model that I'm talking about. Every business that you see in this world, whether it is a small business or the largest business that you see around, they are created or developed using this concept that I have there. Take an example. I'll start with the hawker. A hawker. How does a hawker create value for his customer? By going to Marikiti, buying those goods and services that he wants to sell to his customers, and taking them near to the customers, for example, in the bus stage. That is value creation, because he has made it possible for his customers to get the product conveniently. So the value that he's creating here is convenience. Remember, we have said that for him to create value, he must know the customer. And we have said that the customers he's going to be creating value for are the people who are passing through that street where he is going to put his merchandise or his amenities of goods and services. Those are the customers. So create value for the customers. Let me give you an example again of M-Pesa. How did M-Pesa create value for the customer? I want you to go back to the old way of transferring money, where you needed to go to the bank, queue there for the whole day, wait for the money to be transferred by the bank, the banking people, the bank's people, and the bank's workers at their own convenience time. So you can see the pain the customer had just because there was no convenient way of transferring money from one point to another. Now, what did the M-Pesa do? The person who came up with M-Pesa or Safaricom created the value to the customer by making it possible for you to transfer money at your own convenience and as fast as possible. That was the value. And how did they deliver that value to you? Through a mobile phone application called M-Pesa. And how do they make money? They make money through charging you a transaction fee when you use their services. It is as simple as that. Those three things must be there in every business that you want to start or you are doing. You must know how to create value for the customer, deliver value to the customer, and also to capture that value in form of revenue. You make money. And when I talk about creating value may be as simple as saving customers time. It may be simple as saving customers energy. It may be as simple as convenience. It may be as simple as bringing products near the customer. All these are ways many organizations create value for the customer. Let me give an example of the supermarket. For those of you who have been here for a long time, you know that we only had some 2 or 3 supermarkets in Nairobi town, and mostly the supermarket that was there was Nakumatt. So if you wanted to buy goods and services in the supermarket, you needed to move from the estate and come to Nairobi Nakumatt and buy whatever you wanted there. So what Naivas and Tuskys did is that they realized that if they had to survive in these businesses, they needed to create value for the customer by moving the supermarket from Nairobi town to the estates, bringing it near to the customer. Convenience, making it possible for customers to buy goods and services, all the goods and services that they need in one shop, in one place, conveniently. So they created value by bringing the product, the supermarket near to you in your estate. They delivered value by building that supermarket there, such that now there is a supermarket in Buruburu, there is a supermarket in Umoja, Kasarani, Githurai, or that is how they delivered value. They captured value by charging you something more than what you are charged when you buy goods and services from the supermarket. So you can see that concept must be there. Take an example of a hawker. Again, I go back to my hawker. How does a hawker create value for the customers? I've said he goes to Marikiti, buys goods and services that you want, and you don't want to go to Marikiti because you want to save your time, you have no time, you have no energy, and you want to buy things near you for convenience purposes. That is what they do. So they create value by getting those products from Marikiti near to your to your stage, which you use especially when you're going home. They deliver value by bringing those products there and sitting with them there. That is the value delivery system, because if you want them, whatever they are selling, they must be there. And they capture value by adding some little money on top of how much they spent when they were buying the product, so that they can be able to sell the product. Look at a matatu. How does a matatu create value for you? Matatu creates value by coming for you in Nairobi town. Actually, that is why you see a problem or a challenge when they are told to move out of the Nairobi town, because that is their value creation system, coming for you near your working places. Deliver that value by having that matatu there. That is the value delivery system. They capture value by charging you the little money that you pay as bus fare. So you can see every business in this world is hinged on those three things: creation of value, delivery of value, capturing of value. So if you want to start a business, those three things must be there. And they may not be there, maybe in a paper form or in any other way, but they must be there in your head. Take an example of those people who are selling products using their cars. Now, if you look at those people, they don't just station themselves anywhere. It's that place that they do it. And one of the things you'll also agree with me, their products are cheaper than what you get in some of these kiosks or the groceries. So they create value for you by making sure that they provide you fresh, cheap vegetables for your consumption. Cheap vegetables. Then they deliver that value by bringing that car maybe on your stage, maybe near your estate. That is a value delivery system. They capture the value by adding a small amount of money on top of how much they bought the product. So everything in this world is hinged on those three things. So if you want to start a business, know how you are going to create value, and when you create that value for the customer, know how you are going to deliver that value, and know how you are going to capture that value or make money from that value. Remember, I've said that creation of value may be as simple as saving people's energy, saving people's time, bringing the products nearer to the people. All those are methods that you can use to create value for the customer. Remember, I've said that delivery of value is how the value is going to get to that person you are targeting. Because remember, we said that the first question that we ask ourselves is, who is my customer? So you can use your car. If you are selling grocery products, that is the value delivery system, and you station your car near a place where you know some of those customers you are targeting will be passing by. You may use an application. If you have a product like M-Pesa or Uber, that is a value delivery system. For anybody who wants an Uber, he goes to Uber application. That is a value delivery system. And you have to make money, capture the value, and therefore there must be something small that you add on top of that so that you can be able to make money. So those three things must be there in your idea or a business that you want to start or you are doing. If you do not see one of them, then you are not in a business. Because it means that you are either not creating value for the customer and therefore they are not going to be willing to pay you. You are not be able to deliver the value to the customer, then it means that the customer are not getting the product that you are selling, or it means that you are not capturing value, or you are not making money, or you are not making revenue, and therefore you are not in business. So my homework today is to ask you, if you are doing business or you have an idea that you want to do, please look at those three things. See whether they are there. You can see them in your business. And if you can be able to see them, then you can start the simplest way, in the simplest way that you can be able to do it. So to conclude, let me just conclude by showing you how some of I have a friend of mine who sells sweet potatoes. And I was telling her that this is the concept that she is using. She has a model, but she never, she never believed me. So I told her that when you come to sell Harun or sweet potatoes, the first thing that you need to ask yourself is who is your customer and what problem they have and what solution you are providing. Now he creates that really creates value for the customer by bringing those sweet potatoes nearer to their homes, the estate. Sometimes she has people who uses mkokoteni to go around the estate selling. That is value creation. She delivers the value by making sure that she has the product nearer to the people she want to feed or she want to sell to. And she captures value by adding a small amount of money she adds on top of how much she bought. So those are the three things that I wanted to discuss today. Create value, deliver that value, think about how you're going to deliver the value, and lastly, think about how you are going to make money or capture value. So if you have those three things in your idea or any business that you want to do, please start. If you know how to create value, remember I've said that if you want to create value for the customer, it's very easy. You can save them energy, you can save time, you can make them more convenient in what they are doing. All these are methods of creating value for the customer. The value delivery system is how the value, the product that you have developed for them is going to get them. And the value capture system is how you are going to make money from the product. So thank you very much for listening to me. I hope that we'll continue looking at some of these things, especially right now during COVID time when most our jobs have had a challenge. And I keep telling people that if you can be able to make 100 shillings every day, you are in the right footing of building a big business or business that can last. So thank you very much. Have a nice day and stay safe.